In the rapidly evolving landscape of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, recent developments signal a shift in the dynamics on the battlefield. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reported that North Korean soldiers have been reintroduced to the front lines in the Kursk region as Russian forces grapple with mounting losses. This escalation comes amidst Ukraine's renewed offensive, which has seen its troops advance deeper into Russian territory, raising eyebrows and concerns within the Kremlin. In a notable address, Zelensky remarked on the situation, stating, "There have been new assaults in the Kursk operation areas. The Russian army and North Korean soldiers have been brought in again." He emphasized the significant toll on opposing forces, indicating that hundreds of servicemen from both Russia and North Korea have been eliminated in recent skirmishes. This assertion underscores the dire state of Russian military operations, particularly as they contend with Ukrainian incursions that have reportedly pushed just over 3 miles into the Kursk region. The backdrop of this military engagement is marked by a sense of urgency as Zelensky's forces celebrate the 6-month anniversary of their initial attack into Kursk. Analysts have characterized this latest offensive as a surprise, with one Russian military blogger describing it as coming like a bolt from the blue. Geolocated reports confirm that Ukrainian forces launched coordinated attacks near the villages of Ulanok and Cherkasska Konopelka, further complicating the operational landscape for Russian troops. As the situation unfolds, Russian President Vladimir Putin admitted to a very difficult situation in Kursk during a meeting with regional officials. His acknowledgement of the challenges faced by Russian forces indicates a potential shift in strategy. As domestic discontent grows regarding the Kremlin's handling of the war and its inability to reclaim lost territories. Further complicating the dynamics is the international response to the conflict. Donald Trump is reportedly preparing to meet with Zelensky in the coming days to discuss the ongoing war and the broader implications for U.S. foreign policy. Trump's recent comments suggesting that Ukraine should provide the U.S. with rare earth minerals in exchange for military aid have sparked debate over the complexities of international support for Ukraine amidst the conflict. As hostilities continue, Ukraine's military capabilities are also evolving. The Ukrainian government has announced plans to deploy robotic combat vehicles to the front lines, a move aimed at countering dwindling manpower and enhancing technological superiority in warfare. This initiative reflects a broader trend in modern conflict where unmanned systems and drone warfare play a critical role. Meanwhile, the Kremlin's rhetoric around the war indicates a dual approach. While Putin seeks to downplay the economic impact of the conflict, military assessments suggest a struggle to maintain momentum against Ukrainian forces. The Institute for the Study of War reports that Russian territorial gains have slowed significantly, with January 2025 seeing a marked decrease in advances compared to the previous month. Ukrainian officials, for their part, have highlighted the growing effectiveness of their drone operations, asserting that these capabilities have turned the tide in various engagements. Lieutenant General Ivan Havryliuk noted that Ukraine has introduced over 1,300 new weapon models since the onset of the conflict, with drones becoming a pivotal component of their military strategy. As the war drags on, both sides appear to be bracing for continued conflict with the potential for a protracted stalemate. David Lammy, a British politician, expressed skepticism about the feasibility of peace talks in the near future, citing a lack of willingness from Putin to negotiate. The ongoing casualty rates, particularly in contested areas like Pokrovsk and Toretsk, further complicate the prospects for a ceasefire or resolution. In conclusion, the Ukraine-Russia conflict remains a volatile and multifaceted situation, with recent developments indicating both an escalation in military activity and a reassessment of strategies by both sides. As Ukraine continues to defy expectations with its counteroffensives, the international community watches closely, anticipating how these dynamics will shape future engagements and potential diplomatic resolutions. The interplay of military operations, political maneuvers, and international responses will undoubtedly continue to influence the trajectory of this ongoing war. In the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia, the situation on the ground continues to evolve dramatically as both sides ramp up their military efforts. Recent reports indicate a significant escalation in hostilities, particularly in the Kursk region, where North Korean soldiers have reportedly been redeployed to support Russian forces. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed in a recent address that these foreign troops have returned to the front line amidst claims of high casualties among Russian and North Korean servicemen. There have been new assaults in the Kursk operation areas. We're talking hundreds of Russian and North Korean servicemen, Zelensky stated, underscoring the dire circumstances facing the Russian military. As Ukrainian forces have launched fresh offensives into Russian territory, they have reportedly advanced nearly 5 kilometers into the Kursk region, marking another phase in their strategic counteroffensive. This incursion coincided with the 6-month anniversary of Ukraine's initial foray into Kursk, with one Russian military blogger describing the latest attacks as coming like a bolt from the blue. The Russian Defense Ministry has confirmed multiple waves of Ukrainian assaults in the area, particularly near the villages of Ulanok and Cherkasskaya Konopelka. The situation in Kursk has become increasingly precarious for the Kremlin, with President Vladimir Putin acknowledging the very difficult circumstances in the region. Military analysts suggest that the domestic discontent surrounding the Kremlin's inability to reclaim lost territory is growing, further complicating an already tense military landscape. Putin has yet to prioritize expelling Ukrainian forces from Kursk Oblast over continuing his gradual advances in Donetsk Oblast, noted the Institute for the Study of War, indicating that the Russian leadership's focus may be misaligned given the current battlefield realities. Amidst the chaos, U.S. political dynamics are also at play, as former President Donald Trump has expressed intentions to meet with Zelensky to discuss the ongoing war. Trump's recent demands for Ukraine to offer rare earth minerals as payment for U.S. military aid have sparked controversy, emphasizing the intricate intersection of geopolitics and resource management in this conflict. Meanwhile, Ukraine's military has been actively engaging in drone warfare, reportedly shooting down a significant number of Russian drones in recent attacks. In a related development, the Baltic states have successfully disconnected from the Russian power grid, a move that enhances their energy security and illustrates a broader regional shift away from Russian influence. This decoupling has been framed as a crucial step for these nations to integrate more closely with the European Union, underscoring the importance of energy independence in the context of the ongoing war. The war continues to take a heavy toll on human life and infrastructure, with reports of drone strikes resulting in civilian casualties on both sides. A recent attack in the Sumy region, which borders Kursk, tragically claimed the lives of 3 individuals, including minors. Such incidents highlight the ongoing humanitarian crises that accompany military confrontations. As the conflict persists without a clear resolution in sight, analysts predict that the struggle will continue for the foreseeable future. Zelensky has emphasized that peace talks cannot occur until there is a cessation of hostilities, indicating that both sides remain entrenched in their positions. With international diplomatic efforts set to unfold in upcoming security conferences, the world watches closely, anticipating how these developments will shape the future of the region and beyond. In this high-stakes game of geopolitics, the stakes only seem to grow higher as both military and diplomatic strategies are continually recalibrated in response to a rapidly changing battlefield. In the ever-evolving landscape of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, significant developments have unfolded that illustrate the complexities and shifting allegiances of the war. As Ukraine continues to push back against Russian advances, recent reports indicate the reintroduction of North Korean soldiers to the front line in the Kursk region, underscoring the dire circumstances faced by Russian forces. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has highlighted this troubling trend, noting that North Korean troops have been brought in again to bolster Russian military efforts after foreign soldiers were withdrawn following heavy losses. In his nightly address, Zelensky stated, "There have been new assaults in the Kursk operation areas. The Russian army and North Korean soldiers have been brought in again," emphasizing that a significant number of opposing forces, including hundreds of Russian and North Korean servicemen, have been eliminated in recent clashes. This resurgence of North Korean troops comes as Ukraine has launched a new assault within Russian territory, expanding its incursions by as much as 3 miles, marking the 6-month anniversary of its first attack into Kursk. The situation has grown increasingly precarious for Russian military operations, with Ukrainian forces reportedly pushing several miles into the Kursk region, an assault described by Russian military bloggers as arriving like a bolt from the blue. The Russian Defense Ministry confirmed the attacks near the villages of Ulanok and Cherkasska Konopelka, illustrating the ongoing volatility of the front line. As the conflict intensifies, the geopolitical implications extend beyond the battlefield. Former U.S. President Donald Trump's anticipated meeting with Zelensky next week raises questions about future U.S. involvement and the potential for negotiations. Trump has expressed a desire to negotiate an end to the conflict, yet skepticism remains about Russian President Vladimir Putin's willingness to engage in meaningful dialogue. Experts suggest that Putin shows little appetite for negotiation, and any discussions involving Ukraine without its direct participation may be more damaging than beneficial. In parallel with the military developments, the Baltic nations, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, have taken a significant step by cutting ties with the Russian power grid, solidifying their integration with the European Union. This disconnection, part of a long-debated plan, highlights the broader shifts in regional security dynamics as these nations seek to enhance their autonomy and safeguard against potential Russian aggression. The ongoing air campaign against Ukraine has also escalated, with reports indicating that Russia launched 139 drones overnight, of which Ukraine managed to intercept 67. Such statistics illustrate the relentless nature of the conflict, where both sides are locked in a continuous struggle for supremacy, with Ukraine adapting to the challenges through the innovative deployment of drone warfare. Looking ahead, the future of Ukraine remains uncertain. While Trump's rhetoric suggests a potential shift in U.S. foreign policy towards Ukraine, the complexities of the situation indicate that any resolution will require careful negotiation and a deep understanding of the historical and geopolitical nuances at play. Analysts warn that any peace deal that does not include Ukraine's voice could set a dangerous precedent, emboldening authoritarian regimes while undermining the sovereignty of smaller nations. As the war drags on, both military and diplomatic strategies will continue to evolve. The resilience of the Ukrainian people, coupled with international support, will be crucial in shaping the outcome of this protracted conflict. The coming weeks will likely reveal more about the dynamics of power and the potential for an enduring peace, one that balances the interests of the involved parties while safeguarding the rights and freedoms of Ukraine's citizens. In a significant diplomatic development, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has indicated the potential for intensive discussions with U.S. President Donald Trump as both nations explore pathways to a peace deal amidst the ongoing conflict with Russia. While Zelensky has not explicitly confirmed a meeting with Trump, the U.S. president has expressed optimism about engaging with him in the coming week, potentially in Washington, D.C. This anticipated dialogue reflects not only the urgency of the situation but also the evolving geopolitical landscape as both leaders seek to navigate the complexities of their respective nations' security concerns. Trump's comments on February 7 suggested a willingness to engage directly with Zelensky, emphasizing the importance of the meeting before he himself speaks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Zelensky stated, "The coming weeks may be very intensive in diplomacy, and we will do what's needed to make this time effective and productive." This sentiment underscores a mutual understanding that the current period is critical for diplomatic engagement, particularly as the war enters its third year. At the core of these discussions is Ukraine's proposal to leverage its rich natural resources, particularly rare earth minerals, in exchange for continued military support from the United States. "If we are talking about a deal, then let's do a deal. We are only for it," Zelensky remarked, highlighting Ukraine's strategic resources, which include significant deposits of uranium, lithium, and titanium, elements crucial for both economic and defense capabilities. Trump has also indicated a desire for the U.S. to secure equitable terms in such arrangements, suggesting that financial support could be reciprocated with access to Ukraine's valuable mineral assets. The strategic calculus is further complicated by the fact that less than 20% of Ukraine's mineral resources are currently under Russian control, a situation that Zelensky insists must be addressed to prevent these resources from potentially benefiting adversarial nations like North Korea and Iran. "We need to stop Putin and protect what we have," he emphasized, pointing out the importance of the Dnipro region's mineral wealth. Moreover, the diplomatic efforts are coinciding with pressing military developments on the ground. Recent reports indicate that North Korean troops have rejoined Russian forces in the Kursk region, an alarming sign for Ukraine as it continues to face escalated assaults. Zelensky characterized the battlefield situation as dire, stating that significant casualties have occurred among both Russian and North Korean troops. As the Munich Security Conference approaches, Zelensky is expected to engage further with international allies and U.S. representatives, including Trump's special envoy for Ukraine and Russia, Keith Kellogg. The conference will serve as a platform for discussing not only the military situation but also the proposed economic partnerships that could help stabilize Ukraine's future. In conclusion, the anticipated meeting between Zelensky and Trump could mark a pivotal moment in the U.S.-Ukraine alliance, reinforcing the need for a multifaceted approach to security that encompasses military, diplomatic, and economic dimensions. With the stakes high and the geopolitical landscape rapidly evolving, the coming weeks will be critical in determining the trajectory of both Ukraine's sovereignty and its strategic partnerships. The potential for a fruitful negotiation hinges on both leaders' willingness to address the complexities of the current conflict while securing a lasting peace for Ukraine.